Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Samantha. Today we're making something extra special, sourdough chocolate chip cookies. These cookies are soft, chewy, and have a hint of that signature sourdough tang. If you love baking or just want to try something new, you're in the right place. This recipe is by The Boy Who Bakes, which I'll be tagging in the description box below. I can't wait to show you how they come together. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. This recipe makes about 25 cookies, and you'll need 225 grams unsalted butter diced, 380 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 220 grams of sugar, 220 grams of brown sugar, 3 large egg yolks, 240 grams of sourdough discard, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 500 grams of dark chocolate roughly chopped. For this recipe, I didn't have 500 grams of dark chocolate, but I did have 450 grams of milk chocolate from one of those giant Hershey bars from Niagara Falls. To make these cookies, first we need to brown the butter. Place the butter into a saucepan and over medium-high heat. Cook until the butter melts, bubbles, and then it foams. Don't be tempted to skip this step because this is done for flavor, but it also removes the water content from the butter, which is being replaced by the starter. So if you skip this step, resulting recipe will have very different texture and it's just not going to turn out well. You'll know the butter is done being browned once it starts to have these dark flakes on top. But make sure you keep a close eye on it as it can burn really quickly. When the milk solids have browned, the water will have been evaporated off, so remove it from the heat and set aside for 30 minutes. If you're impatient like me, I stuck mine in the freezer, so you'll see later it's a little bit more solid than liquid, but that's all right, it'll work out just fine. Once the butter is browned, you should have about 185 grams of unsalted butter left. Place the flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt into a large bowl and whisk it together to combine, as you see here. When you're ready to make the cookies, place the browned butter and the sugars in a large bowl, and using an electric mixer or a stand mixer like I'm doing here, fitted with the whisk attachment, whisk for a couple of minutes to combine and break up any lumps. Add the egg yolks and whisk for another 2 to 3 minutes on medium-high. Don't worry if it looks a little separated or greasy at the moment, it'll come together once we've added the starter and the flour. So what you see here is my solidified brown butter that I stuck in the freezer because I was very impatient and did not want to wait for it to come to room temp. It's a little bit thick, but that's perfectly fine. Place your bowl on a scale and measure the required sourdough discard. This adds a subtle tang and enhances the texture of the cookies, so mix it on in. Just gonna chop up what's left of this gigantic Hershey's bar. Thank God this is done. I finally have that space in my fridge back. Here I'm just scraping the sides of the bowl before I add the chocolate chunks. Now we're going to fold in our chocolate chunks. Fold them in gently, try not to overmix. Make sure to refrigerate the cookie dough for at least 4 hours before baking. This time when I did this recipe, I let it chill for 2 hours because I was super impatient, and they're delicious. They're going to bake out just fine either way, but the more you let it chill in the fridge, the stronger the tang will be. Here's a quick little clip of the cookies baking in the oven. And here they are. They'll flatten out in a minute here as they start to cool off. Add a little flaky salt, and there you have it, delicious sourdough chocolate chip cookies. I suggest letting them cool for a few minutes and then digging in, but these are so good warm. It's a perfect mix of chewy, rich, and just a little tangy. Trust me, you're gonna love them. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you try these cookies. Happy baking!